Asha Naik, age 42. My qualification is Diploma in Commercial Practice. I am from Modgaon village, Belgaum district, Karnataka state. I am doing sericulture since 15 years, and this is my husband, Mr. Tejasvi Naik.
Hello, namaskar.
We have a son, Anurag, who is doing his third year architecture in Bangalore. This is my farmhouse, restroom plus office. I operate around 10.5 acres of agriculture here. In that 7.5 acres of sericulture we are cultivating here. Mulberry plantation is in 7.5 acres of land, and we have 2 sheds where we rear silkworms.
Start.
These are the equipments which we use for the day-to-day farming. You can see all sorts of sprayers, disinfection used for disinfection, and the cutters and the weighing scale what we use for weighing of cocoons, and the plows.
Okay.
Yeah. This is the chalky room. It is 10 by 10 in size, and we rear 250 DFLS here. From hatching to the second stage, the worms are kept here and fed, and after the second stage, after the first feed of the from the time they resume from the second molt, we give them the first feed, and then it has been shifted to the bigger shed. This is the chopping board used to cut the leaves for the young age worms, and this is the tub which the leaves have been collected, and this is the tray where we rear the young age worms. The paraffin paper is laid on it, and then the worms are spread on it, and the feeding is given. Once we want to when the worms are ready to be shifted to the bigger shed, the nets are put on that and the feed is given, and this is how the bed cleaning takes place. We maintain the temperature and humidity of this room. For the young age worms, it is around 27-degree temperature, and humidity is 70 to 80% we maintain here. This is the V1 variety of mulberry plantation, which is specially planted here for the chalky. This is called the chalky garden. These leaves are used especially for the young age worms, and to enrich the soil we have maintained this garden by broadcasting sheep manure along with the FIM. Right now these leaves are 35 days of age. These are harvested after the 45 days just to feed the young age worms. These are tender leaves and these are suitable for the chalky garden, so this is maintained separately, and it is in a 5 gunta area which is sufficient for the rearing what we are undertaking. This is my first plot of mulberry plantation. This is also V1. These are 20 days old, and these leaves will be used for feeding of my adult age worms after 60 days, and this is in a 1.5 acre plot. Because of the prolonged rainy season, weeding is still not taken place. The work is still in process. For weeding, we follow the plowing process, and manually we employ laborers to do the de-weeding. This plantation is done in paired rows. That is between the row there is 3 feet gap. Between the plants there are 2 feet, and between the rows there are 5 feet gap. In between the rows we are even taking intercrops. In intercrop in mulberry we have cultivation of vegetables like cauliflower and soya bean, and we even have tried out many floricultural items like blue daisies and goldenrods. We even have paddy, wheat, groundnuts as intercrop, and the total irrigation is done through drip. Total 7.5 acres of land is irrigated by drip irrigation, and even the fertigation of Jivamrut, which is also sent through the drip irrigation. Right now we do not have any standing intercrop. but we have experimented on so many varieties and we have good results. Not using any chemical fertilizers or pesticides here. And all these weeds also, what will be weeding is done, that will be again mulched and put back to the soil. This is my family, 2 cows and 2 calves and a pair of bullocks which are on the farm now. This is my second plot where the leaves have been fed for the adult age worms. This is a 2-acre plot and the variety is V1. Because of heavy rains, and this plot was caught in the heavy rain, we could not do any plowing activity here. Though they are around 20-25 days old plants, you are not able to see the plants properly. The activities of plowing and weeding will be taking place in a short while, some days, and the weeds will be mulched here. The sticks are mulched here. In this 3 feet gap, we don't plow there. We do mulching. These mulberry sticks which have been used for feeding of the silkworms, the litter is been separated and put in the compost pits, and the sticks have been mulched in these rows. These are the mulberry used sticks which are stacked. After the pruning is done, these will be mulched in the 3 feet gap in between. This is my third plot. This is also 2 acres and V1 variety. These leaves have been given to the mulberry, to the silkworms which are being reared in the sheds now. So you don't find any leaves over here. And as intercrop, we have taken sun hemp, which will be mulched into the soil later on. This variety of mulberry is V1. This is much better quality than any other variety. Earlier we used to have S36 also, that usually is used to feed the young silkworms. For a better quality and better yield, V1 is suitable, where V1 gives around 50 tons of leaves per hectare. The S36 yields around only 35 to 40 tons. So there is a drastic difference between the yield quality and the leaf quality also. The size of the leaf also is big in V1. That is why we prefer V1 to S36. Mama?
Yes, madam, start.
This is my first rearing shed. Here the capacity of rearing is 250, but for adequate spacing we rear only 200 layings here for the better rearing facility. This is the antechamber where we store the leaves, plus this chamber is created so that there are no flies or anything entering into the shed directly. In sericulture there is one fly called oozy fly which lays eggs on the silkworms. So to avoid that, this antechamber is created. This is the bivoltine race pure of 200 layings. At the chalky stage, we have reared these eggs at the chalky center, chalky room there, and from there, after the second mold, giving the first feed, we have shifted them here. As soon as the worms have been brought here, it is been placed in such a manner that each rack is being given certain amount of worms, so that once the rearing process starts and until the last stage, the worms are not manhandled. They have been just given spacing, the spread, it has been just spread so that each they are not been handled at all. This avoids drudgery. After 6 days, these worms are going to go in for spinning. We actually come to know how it is going on for spinning. They become translucent. They are still big in size. They still grow big in size, and they become translucent. When you hold the worm against the light, you actually can see the light passing through it, and they start shaking their head as if they are drunk, and they start passing litter and urinate, and finally two strings come out from their mouth. One is the gum and the other one is the silk. This is where we come to know that it is going for spinning. Then we lay the montages on them and give them space for spinning. Approximately in one DFL there are around 400 eggs, and weight of the mulberry foliage required to feed on one DFL is around 18 kilos, and the cocoon weight obtained from one DFL in a good rearing condition is 750 grams.
Acha, this you didn't say preparation.
In this shed, this is rearing shed number 1, we always rear the pure race. The crop which is going on now is also pure race CSR2 variety, which goes for the seed. These racks are done in such a manner. The breadth of the rack is 5 feet, and the length of this rack is 45 feet, and this rack is 5 feet by 35. This is designed in such a manner that the maintenance of the worms and the monitoring of the worms is done fantastically. 2 people can go on handling the worms without any problem. And the height of this rack, if you see, is being given more because further on, if we think of rotary montages which can be hung to the stands here, and the spinning can be undertaken here. That is why we are given more spacing in these racks. This is low cost air conditioning. We fill water in the pots, and the threads have been left on the gunny bag. During summers, when the hot air is blowing, the water starts dripping on the gunny bag and makes the hot air into cool, and the cool air passes through it. This is this works fantastic, and because of this we are maintaining temperature as well as humidity. When this building was built, there was no trees around here. So we made small pocket windows so that the hot air which passes through will pass in a smaller manner, and it turns out to be cool inside. But once the plantation is done all over and there is wind barrier, we broke open into the bigger windows and proper ventilation is been given. This is my second rearing shed. The size of the shed is 30 by 80, that is 2400 square feet. This has a capacity of, this shed has a rearing capacity of 750 layings, but we are rearing only 600 to give adequate spacing. This is the antechamber wherein after the harvesting of the leaves, it has been stored here. Then we check in for oozy flies, and then the main door is open and then we get in and start feeding the worms. This is how the leaves have been harvested and brought and stored here before feeding.
हाँ देन चढ़ के बीच में रख दो ना उसको और फिर वो दिखाएगी
मिनट मेरा
This is the second rearing shed, and we have 600 layings which are being reared now. We have 6 racks each and 3 rows which are of 5 feet and 70 feet in length. This although it has a capacity of 750 layings, we rear only 600 so that we can give adequate spacing. The same procedure is followed like how we do it in the pure race also. The spacing is provided in such a way that only 40 layings are being put on each trace in the beginning, and by the end of the crop you can see all the worms spread to the end of the tray. Crop which is going on is on the 4th day after the 4th molt, and another 4-5 days on the 3rd of October we are expecting to market this crop. In this rearing shed number 2, we usually rear Kolar Gold or hybrid. Hybrid variety is taken over after the rainy season. In the rainy season we usually rear Kolar Gold variety which goes for commercial purpose. The choki is not done here. The choki is done at the government choki center Hirebagewadi, and after the first feed of the second instar, after the first feed of the second molt, the worms are being shifted from Hirebagewadi choki center to this shed. And as I said, the adequate spacing of 40 layings per rack only is been allotted so that the rearing goes on smoothly. Because of that, we can maintain the labor so well until the 4th molt. We maintain the whole shed only with 2 laborers. After the 4th molt, we employ 1 more person, and during the after the 5th stage till the spinning stage, we have totally 6 people on hand. And for harvesting of cocoons, we employ another 15 people who are employed on contract basis. Initially we maintain the whole shed with 2 laborers on hand, and after the 4th molt we employ 1 more person, and until the last stage we have 4 laborers totally, and during harvesting we employ around 15 laborers who are employed on contract basis. The cocoons are taken to the market, grey cocoons are taken to the market, and stifling is not done in our activity. When the cocoon is already marketed, the reelers over there, to store the cocoons they stifle it, they pass the cocoons through the hot air dryer, and this is how the stifling is done. The average length of the silk filament of hybrid is around 1100 to 1200 meters, and the average length of the Kolar Gold silk filament is around 700 to 800 meters, and the width of the silk filament is around 4 to 5 denier. The silk quality of bioltin has got more length and strength and it has more evenness. It can be reeled through multi heads and automatic machines, whereas in multi-voltin it can be reeled only on the cottage basins, and the strength of the, compared to the bivoltin, the strength of the multivoltin is also less. Compared to bivoltin, polyvoltin length of the filament is also less and it can be reeled only on the cottage basins. So, bivoltin is much better than the polyvoltin. Disinfection is the vital aspect of the mulberry cultivation, that is silkworm rearing cultivation. So, this has been totally taken care by my husband Tejasvi Naik. We first do the disinfection with the spray of bleaching powder and lime solution. Bleaching powder of 4 kilos and lime 1 kg together in 100 liters of water is been sprayed thoroughly. Before spraying of bleaching powder and lime solution, flame guns are used to burn off all the floss and whatever remaining in the shed, and then the bleaching powder solution is been sprayed, bleaching powder and lime solution is been sprayed. There will be a gap of 2 days after the bleaching powder spray, and the whole shed will be washed with the plain water. Next, we do the disinfection with the solution called Astra, which is with 50 grams of Astra is mixed with 100 liters of water and again thoroughly sprayed all over. This prevents contact fungicide. And the third one is, just before we get the worms from the Chowki center, we lay the nets on the racks and we give a spray of Decol, and after the Decol spray is done, we lay these papers and the worms are brought into the shed. Disinfection is, if the disinfection is thoroughly done, we cannot find any disease in the silkworm rearing. As you see, these worms are so healthy. Actually, they are disease free, and the pebrine actually we have not seen pebrine attack in our rearing at all, because pebrine usually comes if the proper disinfection is not been done and if the quality of the leaf is not to the mark. So, we do not find any disease on our rearing farms, and we can always say the proper disinfection is been done, so there is no disease in this. Even after each molt, we sprinkle lime powder on it, so that again there is one more sort of disinfection during each molt of sericulture crop. the information pamphlet of Sericulture department, which has been distributed all over Belgaum district, which carries our photo and rearing unit of our farm. This is greenhouse. Earlier we used to cultivate flowers. This year we have gone in for turmeric plantation, which is organically grown and commercially has lot of demand in pharmaceutical industry. This is sugarcane we are doing in 1 acre plot, which is organically grown, and finally it will turn up to be a value added organic jaggery. 15 years ago, when we have stepped into sericulture, our farm also was like any other farm. Like we used to also apply chemical fertilizers and do the traditional way what the others follow. When we had taken intercrop in Mulbury, cauliflower, we had taken cauliflower as intercrop, and we had all the prescription which was given, all that pesticides and chemicals we had also applied, and we got a very good crop which fetched us a very good price. But this gave us a lot of trouble in the sericulture. When the silkworm started feeding on those plot leaves which were as intercrop in Mulbury, silkworm started vomiting, and for nearly a year we had to reject that plot feeding the mulberries. The residual effect of the pesticides and chemicals were so much that 1 year of sericulture went waste from that plot. So we decided, chalo, let us again give it a trial to grow cauliflower, but organically. Let us not follow the chemical method at all. Then we again grow cauliflower in the same plot, and we grew cauliflower in such a good manner without any chemicals, and the harvesting was very good. So we wanted to market that cauliflower also in a very nice way. So we went to a person called Abhay Mutalik Desai, who is into the organic food club, and we started performing Agnihotra. We started performing Agnihotra Homa in the greenhouse, where we had planted zerbera plants, which was totally affected by whiteflies. And to our surprise, there were a lot of changes happening in the atmosphere. Like there were a lot of garden lizards which came in, and one fine day we see no whitefly at all in the thing. And to our surprise, we came to know this was the effect of Agnihotra. When you are uttering Agnihotra mantra here in the kutira here, the mantra and the resonance, the voice, it multiplies, and resonance, through the resonance effect, the effect of the benefit of the Agnihotra is carried out around 100 acres. It benefits around 100 acres of land around here. So by doing this, not only we are benefited, the other farmers who are around us are also benefited. We have noticed a lot of birds coming and nesting here, giving birth to their young ones. Earlier also we had birds, but now they are in more number. Agnihotra is performed exactly at the sunrise and sunset, and the ingredients, the main ingredients what used are the cow dung and the ghee, cow ghee, and unpolished rice. It's called akshata. Akshata means which is not broken. In the morning the mantra is Suryaya Swaha, Suryaya Idam Na Mama, Prajapataye Swaha, Prajapataye Idam Na Mama. After this mantra is uttered, during Swaha, both the times, we have to give the offerings of the rice, a small quantity of rice mixed with the ghee. And even in the evening at sunset also, we have to utter this mantra. Agnaye Swaha, Agnaye Idam Na Mama, Prajapataye Swaha, Prajapataye Idam Na Mama. and the same procedure follows. We have to offer akshata, that is unbroken rice with the ghee during the utterance of swaha.
You light the
The ash what we get from performing Agnihotra, that has been collected and that is used to broadcast it on the farm once in 15-20 days, and we put it in the drinking water also, and we add it in the preparations of organic preparations like Jivamrut and broadcast it in the farm. It has got lot of medicinal properties. The resonance points were installed by 2 Austrian ladies. The pyramids are placed on the 4 pillars of the 4 corners of my farm in the north, south, east, west direction. This is the compost pits wherein we are collecting all the wastage in the farm, waste in the farm, plus the mulberry waste after the harvesting of cocoons and dumped here, and it is the total thing is converted into compost and again broadcasted to the farm as manure. This is the rain harvesting project what we have done. All the water which gushes out in the rains is been diverted in the trenches and made to fall in this pit. And in this pit again there is one more small pit which has a filtration chamber with small pebbles, big pebbles, sandals and things like that. And there is an inverted pipe which has been fixed. Once the water gets filled up here, the water gets filtered from that small pit, and through the inverted pipe, the pipe is been attached to the well. It goes to the well, pure clean water can be seen getting into the well. All the water which is recharged in the well, this well is designed in such a way that you can see the diameter of the well is only 4 feet. It goes 70 feet, just 4 feet in diameter, just like that, and once it is down it goes into a cone, makes into a cone and forms a diameter of 12 feet. And in 3 sides horizontally we have 3 5 feet tunnels, wherein when the water is getting charged up, filled up, the storage capacity has increased, and those tunnels have gone 100 feet each side. We have 3 tunnels that way, each side it has gone 100 feet further. So the storage capacity is such that until the next rains we don't have to bother about the water at all. Earlier when we used to cultivate only 1.5 acres of land, we used to buy water from 1 kilometer far away from the other farm, costing us 15,000 rupees per year. But once we started this rainwater harvesting, we are able to cultivate around 10 acres of land without any trouble throughout the year. This preparation is Jivamrut, and the preparation has been written here. From this Jivamrut preparation, the whole farm is running on this Jivamrut. No other manure except for farmyard manure what we broadcast and the compost what we do ourselves is been broadcasted. Jivamrut is the additional thing what we are giving to the farm, and once in 15 days it has been left through the drip to all the plants, and the whole mulberry cultivation of 7 acres runs on drip irrigation. This is azolla pit. This is mainly used as cattle feed. This enhances the nutrition value of the soil too when it is been mixed with the manure, FYM, and broadcasted on the farm. 30% of azolla is added to 70% of FIM and been given to the farm. This along with azolla there is soil and cow dung mixed in this. For cattle feed, when azolla is used, 33 kilos of azolla and 7 kilos of other grains when we give the cattle for feeding is been mixed well and given as food to the cattle. My message to all women farming community is: dream big, become big. Become self-sufficient and self-reliant. This will help you a lot in the farming. Use whatever resources available and make the best use of it. Sericulture is a crop which can give you monthly income. So this is the best suited crop for everybody, I feel. And women as such, they are so caring and so loving. They will definitely take care of the plants and the silkworms so well. So I think this is best suited for the women community. Once again I stress, be self-reliant and self-sufficient. From the childhood we have been hearing in the stories that once there was a poor farmer. This poor farmer, which is been read and heard about, always creates such a bad impact on the child, and as and when he grows up, he never thinks of becoming a farmer because farmer is always said a poor farmer. So my earnest request to the people who are the writers of these stories or the syllabus makers to avoid this word as poor farmer. Annadata Sukhi Bhava is the ultimate word a person says when he is being fed and when he is happy. So I feel proud to be Annadata. Annadata Sukhi Bhava is the ultimate word which comes out of anybody who is being fed very well. Annadata is the one who feeds the millions. I feel proud to be an Annadata. I would like to also add here that a farmer, when if he adds value to the produce what he is producing, like if he is growing flowers, if he encourages any of his family member to become a florist, or a person who is growing sugarcane, if he gives an end product as sugar jaggery, or a person who is growing turmeric, he makes it into a turmeric powder and sells it, the value of it will be fourfolds, and he will definitely have the income which he is more expected. This is my message to the farming community.